IVM.
कृपया ध्यान दीजिए, the language used on the podcast may not be fit for consumption. We warn you, tread carefully. But listen yaar, don't be so conservative. Namaste, Cyrus says, and before we introduce lovely Aisha Chenoy, we have to quickly mention that this thing is getting to all of us, this lockdown. Me on the side of anti-lockdown, and of course lots of people are for lockdown, so the fight will continue. But in the meantime, I got to tell people in my lane, Little Gibbs Road, where the poor live, Malabar Hill, can you stop just shutting those stupid fat gates of yours all the time? I don't get the whole gate thing. Are you keeping the virus out with those open bar gates of yours, which you shut in this aggressive manner? I don't understand the symbolicism of that. Who are you stopping? Whoever has to come and comes in any case. So it's just aggressive. And I think it's unnecessary, and it's just paranoia and anxiety being heightened again. So this is my request. Leave the damn gates open. The virus will get you or not get you. The gate has nothing to do with it.
If you love cricket, listen up. The Edges and Sledges Cricket Podcast is here for you. Hosted by DJ, Varun, and me, Ashwin, we bring a fun, fresh fan's point of view to talking all things cricket. Sometimes it's just the three of us, sometimes we have guests, including current and former international cricketers. For new episodes every week, check out the Edges and Sledges Cricket Podcast on the IVM app, website, or wherever you get your podcasts.
That being said, Dr. Cyrus will move on to a very interesting person. One of my favorite people or types of people are people who are, multifaceted and have different sides to their personality. Relationships can last longer in spite of what she said to me offline because they've got so many different things about them as against a one-dimensional person who, say, just likes painting and that's all they can talk about, which is my wife. Initially, I was upset, Aisha, as I introduced you, I was upset because your name is Aisha, my wife's name is Aisha, and I say that with a lot of trepidation. After 20 odd years of marriage. So I had to practice before starting the show that I will not falter. Now, if your name was Pooja, for example, it would have been so easy for me. Pooja, Pooja, Pooja. Hey, Pooja, what's up? But I can't do that. So I'll just go, if I stammer and stutter and sound like a poor man, Shah Rukh Khan, who is in fact Shah Rukh Khan, please, I apologize. But welcome to this crappy show of ours and thank you for giving us your time and for sending us your book of poetry to the bravest person I know. Check it out. There you go. Oh, okay, maybe here. All right, we'll come to that in a second. I'll ask only one question about the book first off, which is, I read a bit of it. To the bravest person I know is to you?
No, I mean, it should be technically, but unfortunately, nobody's ever written me a book so far. So it's to my brother, who runs the agency with me. He's 8 years younger than me, but I won't tell you what his age is.
So much for the anchor doing his homework and knowing what he's talking about. Another moronic moment in Cyrus says. Aisha, you'll be pleased to know you will never feel you're with such an inadequate anchor again, whoever else you speak to.
You're just self-deprecating, Cyrus. That's
no, I'm not. But I don't want to be too pretentious about the poetry thing. I'd rather... I know you shouldn't be telling us everything, but that also sounds... Don't you think that's a bit... what is it? Like, when you don't want to work, so people say, give me the reference, what does this mean? After some time, that's also wrong, isn't it? To be mollycoddled by the poet.
No, but I think that it has so many levels of interpretation, right? All this micro poetry and stuff. And I think that it's a little bit more dark than Rupi Kaur. Just a little bit.
All right.
So sometimes my posts have been banned from Instagram because
We have a rebel on our vegetarian podcast. A wild animal, a predator.
You should have seen what I wrote yesterday after the Kumbh Mela.
Well, whatever you wrote, I endorse it. Okay, because I'm pretty sure it's what sensible people would do, perhaps with a nice turn of prose or phrase. We'll come to poetry. We'll come to do a lot about that. We have to talk about that. But your life is, as I said, multifaceted, multi-talented. So let's celebrate it for a second. You began. Let's go there. That's not here. Your childhood is not there. So let's get a bit about where were you? Bachpan mein, where were you exactly?
So grew up in Delhi. Was in the famous modern school Vasant Vihar.
Modern school? You're the first spoiled kids with the mobile phones.
Yeah.
Right.
I know. I'm friends with every politician's son, every Marwadi businessman.
And both opposition and present sitting government. So that's just fabulous.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then I was at LSR doing economics. Went on scholarship to Cambridge. Did a second economics degree there, but I did that in 2 years. And then I went to the London School of Economics for an MSc in Finance and Economics. And then I was an investment banker first with UBS and then Credit Suisse, where I was handling leverage investments for a long time. And then I did this writing course in St. Martin's School, quit banking.
Which is where?
So Central St. Martin's in London.
Oh. You're talking to me and Silvery, he's not been out of Powai and me out of Malba Hill in 40 years. So, you just help us through it. Yeah. Because St. Martin sounded like something where we would have grown up for a second, because we have the similar sounding schools all over India.
Shop.
Something like that. Yeah. And
so I did this course, went nuts, decided to quit banking. My husband, then he was my live-in boyfriend, also decided to quit, which wasn't a great idea because you had these two young investment bankers come back to India, think that any business...
But had you made your money by then?
We'd made a lot of money, which we burnt completely within the first 3 or 4 years of coming back. Started the first dating website where only women could send friend requests. So it was Bumble, but back in 2009.
Bumble Fumble.
So we kind of missed the boat.
Yeah,
Bumble Fumble. It was called Date Dosti, and basically there were like 5 lakh men on it within the first 2 months, and 3 women, of which 2 were my now husband and 1 was me. So, and then we started India's first wine investment fund, but all the FDI rules and stuff, that changed. So by the end of it, I was 6 months pregnant, broke, wanting to divorce my husband, but thought not a good time. And I started this agency, which is now kind of 300 people, and in Delhi and Bombay and Bangalore and,
So let's get that right now. So you had a first successful avatar, very successful, all corporate stories start to finish, all good, winning things along the way, winning accolades, getting the right points in your, brownie points, if you want to call it that as well. And then the professional life was good. Investment banking, you did well. Your partner did well. And then a few wrong investments, which sounds ironical. Being an investment banker, the investments went south. But that's really interesting. So then you come back after that. Generally, most bankers we know are done one way or the other in their 30s. But you then come back and you reinvent yourself with a digital marketing agency, Rep India. So where did the idea come from when you were down in the dumps?
So this is somebody, and nobody's ever asked me this, and it's quite nuts. But there was a politician who was illegally staying in one of my parents' properties. And when we Googled him...
It's almost a romantic story, yeah.
It really is, always is. So we Googled him, it said nothing. Like, it was like, oh, this guy's wonderful. And then I thought, what the hell? Like, the truth should come out. And then I started thinking of search engine optimization and started reading a bunch of books and all that. And, I always like to write. So between writing, entrepreneurship, and all this, I felt like, digital marketing kind of made sense at that time. Again, I regretted it many times in the middle, but yeah, that's how it happened.
So would you say that's really courageous and you need that, or would you say it's a little foolish that you're good at something, but you turn your back on investment banking and things like that, and you say, I'll try my hand at something totally different, which basically you're not experienced at?
The non-politically correct answer is we were the dumbest Fs in the world, me and my husband. Like even now, sometimes we're sitting there and we're like, we look at our last bonus slip in London and then we can't speak through dinner to each other because we think one of us should have stopped the other person, right? We both went boom into it. But then you can't look at life like that. I mean, you take these big risks and it panned out, right? He built the company with me and went back into private equity. And I'm doing this and writing and doing lots of projects which you hear about, but kind of changing the laws that are regressive against women. So I'm going to be launching some of that soon also. So it's worked out, All
right.
The stupidity has worked out.
Well, I don't know if that's true, but I don't know what the right word is, but you see that in sport as well. Luck belongs to the brave, fortune favors the brave, all these phrases. But there's something in it. There's something in it where people just seem to have much larger kahunas at a point in their life, where if you look back and reflect, they probably would be more conservative about decisions. But at that point, it's like, it's almost like you're actually unstoppable, despite it not being the best period in your life financially and otherwise. I don't know. Maybe it's like a spiritual thing where you just seem to have the power that you have only then and because of the situation. And that propels you.
Yeah, I mean, I went to astrologers, and I don't admit this to most
Who
of my...
never predicted COVID.
Yeah, they never did. But they did say to me, they did say to me, "Aapki marketing energy kuch aur hi hai." So it did put that into my head. I remember, so.
Suggestion, auto suggestion. But I think we can't give too much credit to bloody astrologers. You're very much a self-made woman and thrice over. So let's now move a little bit to one question before we go to the poetry, which is you won this prize, which was awarded to Amartya Sen as well. So it's very prestigious in the world of academics. Obviously, idiots like me have no idea, except I've heard the name Adam Smith. Adam Smith Prize at Cambridge University, no less, which was won once by the great Amartya Sen. Well, what is that prize, and how do you tell us about it?
So it's a prize that's given once a year to the graduating, somebody who graduates from Cambridge in economics. And there are various. I mean, I got a start first, and I think out of those people, maybe one looks at the essays that they've written, the quality of essays, if there's something different, even the dissertation. I'd written a dissertation, so I think that they kind of evaluate a number of factors and then give you this prize. Of course, that prize is what I was, walking around with in my head when I was failing as an entrepreneur, saying, but I won the Adam Smith Prize.
You could have won an election in Calcutta right now, just for the fact that you're the successor of Amartya Sen. We should put that prize out there, and
I should speak to Maua Moitra, my friend. I love her speeches.
Yeah. You're one of those rare politicians that are nice to look at.
She's also ex-investment banker.
Is she? Yeah. Isn't it? Don't we have a collection of really not good-looking politicians? And then so she's like a breath of fresh air. I hate to bring it up because it sounds a bit Me Too-ish, and we've already discussed a few of our common friends. But really, but considering that our whole career is looking at politicians, what they have to say, sometimes I just wonder.
No, but we should be allowed to compliment people, right?
Yeah. It is.
Arjun Rampal is good looking, right?
Fair enough. Yeah, exactly. So the world is not equal. All right. So now let's come. So obviously this Rep India did really well. You've got all these big clients. In all the bios, Burger King comes in first, which I'm a huge fan of, by the way. But Burger King abroad, not so much here because they don't allow us to eat certain, meats, and which you can't. Aisha, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, which is very good. In our country, we should not do all these things. Yeah. All right. So now you said you were writing all along. And obviously you were even in university, etc. That side of you was very much there. So when did you think in your head, okay, now it's time for me to, say what I have to say and, put my thoughts on paper and push them out there?
I think mostly a nervous breakdown during the lockdown caused that to happen. So I think it just kind of all just splurged out. It was like a panic vomit, and it just came out on paper. And then within 2 or 3 months, and I put it on Instagram. And I, even though we work heavily with influencers and all that, I generally found the term influencer and stuff. It started grating my soul, but I still put it out there on Instagram with just words. Like I try and stay away from any photos and the whole objectification angle. Even though I got to tell you, sometimes I'm very tempted, for another 15,000 followers, So I suddenly started writing, put it out on Instagram, suddenly got like 30,000 followers. One of my best friends insisted I sent the work to Penguin. And Millie, who heads Penguin, literally said to me, yes, Millie. Millie said to me, let's, look, first, Millie is so professional and cautious. She said,
she's so positive also.
She's the best human being.
Yeah,
so initially
lovely.
She called me and she said, hey, I want to tell you, a lot of time micro poets and quotes don't, very often we haven't published them. And I was like, but what about Rupi Kaur? She sells a lot, and, blah, 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 and all these women, Nikita Gill, who I really like. And she said, yeah, well, we'll get back to you. And of course, me being me, thought, that's it, it's over. And then suddenly I get this email from Millie saying, listen, my team just went nuts. They loved the book. They loved every page. And boom, and then they published it. And, it's this virus. Like, I think at this point, I've sent so many free copies to so many people who have corona and who are alone, that I'm almost kind of spending my salary at Rep India, sending my book out. Not the best marketing strategy.
Oh, you never know. It's got to be out there one way or the other. That's suddenly, changes the game. But just so this is the first book.
This is the first book, yes.
But you had Instas up where you would put a thought here and thought there, which was in some sort of prose form, which was a collection from your collection in your mind.
Exactly.
Okay.
And I do that every day. I write something or the other.
Okay,
And
so
put
it's
it out.
not, it's just collection of thoughts. There's no one is going to another kind of thing.
Yeah, this was different because I went through all the myriad of emotions and life and anxiety and it covered everything at the end of it. And with a single message that bravery is so many things and normal is so many things. But the ones that I put out there, it depends on my general mood after reading the newspapers, which is usually bleak.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the question to ask here is that all along you were sending out your thoughts or whatever, but now that you want to put a collection together, is it about certain people? Is it like a separate, more personal sort of thing, as against an Insta where you're
Definitely.
just talking to the universe?
Definitely. I think that, a lot of poets and a lot of micro poetry is about heartbreak or just love. And I think there's a lot more to life than just love in terms of your one romantic relationship. And I feel like people don't often write about that. Right. So one of my favorites, which nobody talks about, is Save Your Silence for the Funeral It Caused. Because I feel like most people are too scared to speak, including me, to be honest, most of the time. And so, I wanted to write about absolutely everything in a prose format, including, anxiety and depression, which we just don't talk about, and bind it together to say that it's normal. Obviously, its writing's always personal, so a lot of the shit is extremely personal and gets me into a lot of trouble, various people. But
Can they identify themselves, the people in your life?
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, my brother's come out of it well because he's the bravest person I know.
That's a pretty positive. I mean, that's like a tribute. My worry is, when you use words like you, is it about a particular person? If I'm asking too much, please stop me. I don't want to, I understand that some things don't have to be shared. You didn't have to be something for us to be nothing. For example, is that about a person? And is it like a critique?
So I think it's about the fact that whenever you have a breakup, right, people go into this guy was an asshole, she was like this.
Right.
And I think you always say somebody has to be something. So it's, you don't have to be something for us to be nothing. We could have been perfectly reasonable people who just didn't get along.
Right.
So that was my own, but everybody takes it differently, right? That's the beauty of these kind of.
Yeah, true. But what's the guy's name?
There's a whole list. Kidding.
Listen, we'll sell this book really fast once I get some names and lawsuits going. Huh? Are you the kind of person, I won't say grudges, but you remember relationships from the past, not necessarily love relationships, but whatever, where you felt betrayed, hurt, unhappy?
Not at all. I mean, what's ended up happening, in fact, is I have this terrible tendency to do a lot for people, but then I have a very sharp tongue and a decent sense of humor. So I end up saying something pretty atrocious, maybe in a moment of anger or whatever, and I laugh loudly, and it's not funny, right? But it's funny to me because I'm so pissed off. And it's happened many times that I've done.
Are you saying you can be quite mean?
I'm saying that I have in the past during work, for example, sometimes we set things I don't quite mean. And it's not off the, as a banker, you could get away with a lot more of that. As an entrepreneur in a creative industry, you've got to be much more careful. And which is fair, right? You get older and you realize that what you say can affect somebody in a way that you don't mean for it to affect somebody. So it's just better you shut up. So, I've been through that, but I completely forget, right? Like I completely forget. So after that, I'll meet people and I'll go, to hug them. Well, not anymore anyway.
Yeah.
But they're like,
and not in Delhi.
You once said, yeah, definitely not. You're like, you once said this thing, or she was a tough boss, whatever. But I have a lot of, I think generally with my relationships, great relationships, because open, don't remember, forgive easily.
That's good because I was thinking, do you keep score? I know a lot of people around me growing up and all that, they keep grudges, especially would do a similar thing. I'm not saying we are similar, but I would do a similar thing as in perhaps push down somebody or make fun of them or whatever. And then not think of it later. I'm friends again.
Yeah.
But the other person doesn't talk to me forever.
Yeah, the grudges are not from my side. That's exactly right. Like I don't remember.
I'm not excusing us. I'm just asking if that does that come back to you and you say, let's just say that you had a friend called Raju, and sorry, Raju is the name that came to my head. And then, years later, you're trying to set it right. in your poetry or in some form or whatever, and because you remember. Sometimes I think these things just come back to you when you're thinking. Like it's not like you purposely remember.
No, I think the stuff that comes out with the writing sometimes is when you haven't been able to say it to somebody. So some of that is usually parental stuff, unfortunately. But otherwise, I feel like you also, if you're a sensitive person, you kind of imbibe what other people are going through. So, for example, luckily, I've never been through infidelity, unless, of course, I don't know what my husband's up to.
Yeah, never say these
Who
things.
knows?
Why would you do
Who
that?
knows?
Put pressure on everybody. Yeah.
Maybe he's secretly logged into some other
Yeah.
site, instead of watching this,
That
for
first
example.
site you all started for only women. It's rocking. Yeah.
But I could write it because a lot of my friends have been through it,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I think that, not some of it is personal, of course, but a lot of it isn't.
No, but empathy is empathy. I don't know why there's no definition that one has to go through the exact same thing
Yeah.
to empathize. But on the same page, I'm just trying to find if isn't it strange how we started and ended like strangers? Is this now talking about, but I think this is like really spot on philosophy. And it's really scary how some of us, we have intense relationships. But then again, when they end, they aren't the people who will attend your wedding or your big events or parties. So many friends we've had with intense relationships and they've played a stronger role in your life, but then they're gone.
Yeah.
While the medium level friends stay forever.
Yeah.
You don't really break any bond with them, but you're never really close to them. But they'll be at every event, every funeral, everything. And there's something wrong with that, And I think this is spot on. Isn't it strange how we started and ended like strangers?
Yeah.
You want to take us through?
I mean, that's it. It's what you said, right? I think that with the intensity, often comes a lack of ability to communicate and to readjust your relationship or talk about your expectations or talk about hurt. And it's just awful. Like, often even, I had a very bad tendency in terms of breakups at, university, where I wouldn't be able to do an easy breakup and just be like, listen, you know what, it's not working out. I'd like break up. I was the sort of person who break up on text message or whatever it was, because I was too scared of.
Where was the poet then?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh God.
I was scared of really talking to somebody who,
Confronting.
Confronting, right? And the thing is that these are people who are great people, and a lot of them I'm still friends with and have become friends with again. But, I feel like we just don't make that effort when there's been a great relationship to go back. And sometimes when we apologize, I had a work disagreement with an old friend recently, and he went nuts about work, and I just went back later and I was basically apologized, and he's like, why didn't you apologize earlier? And I was thinking, because there was such a shitstorm that was created that at that time I didn't feel like anything I would have said would have, but it was great because we went back to having, at least, we wouldn't stab each other in the street type of relationship.
I have a bone to pick with the guy. Instead of saying, okay, whatever, and letting it lie, he's saying, why did you do it earlier? This is so Indian male.
I think that, the kind of hurt people feel just varies, right?
Yeah, once
like
a person apologizes, they've taken the sort of higher ground. You don't need to make them grovel after that. You don't have to say why not earlier and later. You have to now say, okay, the pipe is on, let's smoke it. And
I'm good at groveling, though, I've got to tell you. I've learned the hard way.
Fair enough. I think just be true to yourself, right?
Yeah.
to get the bill passed. That's a different story altogether. This is India. What can we do?
Yeah.
People used to take Rottweilers to client meetings just for that. Yet then there's on some pages they're much longer. It's like a freestyle. Sometimes it follows like just 4 lines, 2 lines, and sometimes it's a pretty long sort of iambic pentameter, which I'm not familiar with. I found the letter you wrote me when you left. Your eyes confident, leaning forward, crowding out the U's, C's curled like our bodies in bed. So you're now critiquing his writing style, which is telling us about the person.
We're just saying that there's a letter, and then it's the alphabets of letter are talking about the relationship, and then it's saying, what page are we on? Because
it's
I don't even remember
73.
my own poetry.
No, it's and I'll tell you, it goes exactly what you said. Distance between the letters growing, filled with words unsaid.
Yes.
So it's like a metaphor for the relationship in the spacing of the letters, I presume.
Yes.
And blotted letters washed with tears. Love, a 4-letter word signed with fear.
Yeah.
So this is personal, obviously. This sounds very personal.
So I've got to tell you, this is the kind of, this was funnily enough, just a friend had broken up and her boyfriend had left her a letter. And I just kind of picked up on that and wrote this. It's literally like that.
Yeah, but your eyes, confident, this selfishness, etc.
Yes.
So do the
even crowding out the yous because you crowd out the other person in the relationship.
C's curl like our bodies in bed, of course. No, it's for some other couple. So could they identify it?
I don't know, because I think a lot of times people don't even know I'm kind of writing with their story in my head.
But if this lady is privy to the fact that there was one letter which she shared with you, and that letter caused a lot of, damage in her emotional status and et cetera, et cetera.
But it's wonderful how few people read these days.
Well, they listen to podcasts. You may have to write a letter to her soon. Keep your eyes small. Okay, listen, there's lots of fascinating stuff, a lot of interesting stuff. There's one or two which is single lines. So I'm just asking you again, you don't have to tell us more than you need to.
Of course.
Was I just a typo, for example?
Oh, that's my general feeling about my life.
But suddenly low self-esteem or immodestly trying to be, I'm just asking.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I mean, I think, I think if you've had a slightly maybe dysfunctional childhood, which is obvious from the earlier part of the book, I think that one does end up suffering a little bit from a lack of confidence. Boundaries are undefined, reactions are often, over the top, et cetera, et cetera. So I very often, at different points where I've, there's a lot of course we hide it well, but there's been a lot of self-hate. So it's something my husband and my brother and my best friends have really tried to.
Are you honestly saying that you sometimes suffer from self-loathing or whatever? Because, you're a self-made person. You've resurrected yourself 3 times already.
Yeah, I think you go hard, when you have that feeling, right? That people, I remember very long ago, a friend of mine who's a psychologist at Chelsea in Westminster, we were having a conversation and he said to me, people believe in positive, affirmations and moving forward by saying, I can do this. And he was like, but it's very interesting. A lot of people are kind of like, you're a fucking idiot. How couldn't you do this? So that's the kind of person I am. If I'm like, such a loser, you couldn't win this pitch, or that was such a shitty idea.
That's sledging yourself, Aisha. That's almost like a coach in your head. That I totally accept, because you sound more like a person to do that. But to think that you'd be fragile at this point in your life?
Yeah, extremely. Many times have suffered from, kind of quite a severe low if things have happened in my life, etc. Which, of course, I bounce back from.
You're not afraid to explore yourself in terms of what you're thinking and feeling. You're not one of those people who rubbishes anything. You allow your thoughts out.
I do. I've tried different things, right? I went into therapy. I've done yoga and meditation and the works. So for me, I feel like whatever works. You got to do different things.
What's your decision on therapy?
I think it's the best thing ever.
You'll find
one of my therapists fired me because I also introduced her to my husband and my brother, and she said it was getting too complicated. So she broke up with all of us.
I thought it's easier that way when they have like almost all the units.
Well, funny thing is, it was really interesting because she said I was suffering from abandonment issues, and then she kind of abandoned us. So,
Sorry,
I got to tell you that therapy.
that's not even funny.
That therapy therapy went kind of AWOL.
Do you think you suffer from abandonment issues?
Like, there's some things I know I suffer from, So I definitely know I suffer from boundary issues, very often. I jump into people's lives to help them. They haven't asked, and there I am standing outside their door. Of course, that works madly in my favor sometimes because of my relationships, my friendships. They're absolutely insane, even with some of my colleagues.
But if I may say so, I think it's a fabulous gift, the fact that, especially amongst Indians, that self-introspection is not complicated in the sense that you don't, selectively self-introspect. You just let it flow I think that's why you're able to write what you're able to write and perhaps ruffle feathers, including those around you. And with the Kumbh Mela, people you don't really want to know. No, but I think as an artist, don't you think that's important that you're able to free yourself like that and just say, okay, today I'm feeling horrible and this is what I think. And it comes
I
up.
think, I've got to tell you, I think a lot of people ask me what I think bravery ultimately is. And I think bravery ultimately is honesty. And I feel like honesty is saying, look, this is where I'm doing a pretty decent job. This is where I've been an asshole. So, pardon the French. And this is where I think I need to change. And this is how I think I need to change. And this is what I want to change in the world. And I'm very clear about that. So, even with the book, I was very clear about the fact that, it's helped a lot of people, right? So I got a letter from Amitabh Bachchan congratulating me on the book. I went nuts when I got it. And I promised myself I wouldn't act like a typical fan.
Why not?
So I just went crazy. And then, the likes of Bipasha Basu and stuff shared the book and a hell of a lot of people. But the real things that got me were, there was an Iranian carpet seller who made a video for me in an internet cafe in Iran because, the internet was obviously an issue there.
Correct.
And read out some of the poems and actually put his name at the back of the book, Hassan Mahmoodi, because I wanted him to feel involved and special with the whole thing. So there was Shabana Azmi on the one hand. And then there was, Hassan Mahmoodi and some of the people I've met in my life who I'm close to. Those are the words that kind of really meant something to me. So I get these messages all the time globally, there was a chick called Diana Karyub, and she lives, where she lives, Bahrain. She's from Bahrain. And she's always engaging with me, saying that, my words kind of lift her through various moods or various struggles. So that is why ultimately I'm doing it, because, money, frankly, that's why I work 14 hours a day at Rep India. In terms of my relationships, I have my relationships, but I feel like this stuff, like you write shit and sometimes it really makes a difference to that one person who needs that one line. And then that's the fun of it. That's the beauty of it.
That's your therapy in the end. You don't need anything else. You just release your stuff and it touches people and you feel better about yourself, or you just have a cathartic sort of effect on your own self sometimes.
Yes, that's it. I mean, it's
But that doesn't mean everyone should write. There are a lot of people who it's horrible. Or they should write and just leave it somewhere where no one can see it.
Well, some people shouldn't even speak, like Arnav,
Okay, fair enough. No, I understand. The mirror is right here. We understand. We get your point, oh poet. Okay, we're going to take a quick break. Aisha, when we come back in a second or two, Silvery will join us and there'll be EMA questions. And we'll discuss the Kumbh Mela with you in a second. I heard about this amazing thing, the Cred Daily Jackpot. Have you guys heard of this? Okay, it's very simple. You go on the Cred app, you pay your credit card bills, win the Cred Daily Jackpot. It's so easy. So basically, it's on the 13th over of the second innings of every match, a daily mystery reward is unveiled. All right? And you could be the one who wins it. So download Cred. It's very simple. Follow me at Instagram and Twitter on Bored Brocha. I'm so bored, I need your help. I need your love. I need your touch. Okay, just follow me. Silvery.
Hey, hi. Good morning. Good morning, Aisha.
Hi.
How are you doing?
Isn't it nice? Aisha's got this. She's like in the Rajdhani first class coupe or whatever it's called. I can see the Battle of Panipat.
That's because you haven't seen my spinning bike right behind my chair.
Where's the spinning bike? I can see it.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Look at the size of that room, Mr. Bombay. Yeah, we can put 7 relatives there just now. Not miss them. Yeah.
That's the difference between Bombay and Delhi, though, to admit.
I keep telling them, I'm such a big Delhi fan. Yeah, because it's got a lot of... there's nothing bad about Delhi except late night if you're a girl and you want to walk around. And
except for the people, it's a great place.
Well, I've had some good times also. I don't think I wouldn't do that.
The food is so much better.
There are horrible people everywhere,
the food
Aisha.
is great. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Food is much better. The dairy products are much better.
Sure.
The milk is better. Don't start me off. I'm one of those guys, wherever I am,
Cyrus.
the grass is greener. No pun intended.
First floor's empty. I can get you a great deal.
My cousins won Panchil Park, but they won't give me that flat. Bungalow, whatever it is. Yeah. I don't know what it's called. Do you have any relatives, Silvery, in Delhi?
I'm originally from Delhi.
But do you have any property?
Not anymore. No,
Oh, damn.
now we don't. We used
Suddenly
to have,
not,
but now
Cyrus
we
is
sold
suddenly
it.
not interested if you're in
Yeah.
Delhi or not.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Sorry, Cyrus, you can't stay at my place.
Anybody with Delhi roots will have something in Delhi left, yaar. Yeah. Anyway, talk to
No
Aisha.
court case, maybe a court case left in Delhi.
They must have lost it, hence they reached Mumbai. Right. Sorry, go on.
All right. There are two questions to start off with. Asking what happened with the politician story. What happened to the politician?
Yeah,
You were saying at your
which
parents'
launched
house.
part 2 of your career.
Yes. So he got he took the case all the way to the High Court. At which point the High Court judge was like, "Listen, you're claiming that they had an oral lease agreement with you, but they've come to court against you. So clearly the oral lease is over. So what the hell are you wasting our time for? Get out." And then my parents actually filed also for damages, and that has also gone through. So, yay to the Indian justice system.
Hey, Silvery,
Wow.
this wasn't your family, right? the dates may match. The dates may match.
Oh shit! It was an uncle. I just remembered. Oh damn it. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So those two questions were from Hyperbole and Tarun Kaushik. They both asked about the politician. The next one comes in from Subodh Dohre. He's just a comment. He says, from investment banker turned to an emotion banker, a truly must-read book for motivation and inspiration and inspiring thoughts to which anyone can relate to. So thanks so much for that. Subodh.
It's also a little intimidating because her life, and she's not even halfway through it, already successful in fields where people really struggle to see success. Many of them, once, twice, and now with the poetry, you could say 3. That's a lot of pressure. You want to do more? Are there more things you need to explore?
I'm actually getting on a call today to launch something very insane, which I'll tell you about later. Otherwise, my brother will kill me.
Okay, can I ask you? That doesn't put any pressure on the husband and people around you. That
They do
you're
keep
a bit like an
telling me to slow
overachiever.
down. Yeah. They keep telling me to slow down very often because, again, I'll take things like I remember there was a period where when the book, like I wasn't seeing enough press on it, and I told him it's obviously a shit book, and he was like, "Jesus, just
write another book about that."
They just run away, now. Even my best friends, they just don't want to hear it. They feel like I'm lying to them or something. I'm just speaking utter crap. They're like, "Are you making this shit up?" So
that's why we discussed offline the Hassan Mehmoodi and Dinah, somebody, forgive me, I forget her name. The stranger friends are the easier friends.
Yes. Yes.
It's just this easier relationship in many ways.
They believe you, they believe you.
They believe you, and there's no lena dena sort of situation at all, which helps.
Yeah.
I'm going to find myself some friends I never see. God, that's the secret to success, young man. Silvery, learn from us. Come on.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Next.
Okay. Next one again comes from Hyperbole. It's just a funny comment. He says, my banker is super mean. He always tells me, abhi lunchtime hai. Which is just funny.
But it's not just
that's
the bank.
an issue with private bankers, though. I was an investment banker, so there's a very different sort of.
That's true. That's very true.
Yeah, but the bankers who don't deliver also, I think he's talking about public sector, really, which has not changed that much over the years. Just the Kumbh Mela story, can we squeeze out of it quickly before you go to the MAs? Because
yes, please,
what was it? Obviously, some sort of satirical remark. Fair enough.
So, no, I've put a lot of poetry out there that questions things, because I remember even when there's criticism of any foreign comment on Indian politics.
Yeah.
I remember
Rihanna,
really,
yeah.
And I remember writing saying they were people first and they were our people second. Because I think that is the way to see it, right?
Absolutely.
They're people first. And then I'd written another one recently because it really bothered me how vitriolic things are becoming. And I'd written saying, justice doesn't seek revenge. Because I get the feeling that very often people are, using different...
Settling scores, yeah.
Yeah, they're settling scores as opposed to serving justice, And
coming back to that Rihanna thing, I mean, really, in the global world we live in, we're going to take out a, civil unrest over the fact that a lady from Jamaica or West Indies or wherever is now commenting on India, and that's wrong.
I mean, I find
have I
the
not
whole
commented
thing,
on America?
Everybody's got a lockdown except if you're, a naked...
No, what happened to free speech?
Man.
Because...
Yeah, if you're a naked, orange chaddi wearing man, then the lockdown doesn't apply to you.
It's
I
white
just don't
chutney.
get it. Yeah,
Symbolically
you're right.
orange. But I saw the pictures of the bath, and somebody sent
It just was like,
they sent a picture of all these guys bathing 28 lakh together and wearing their langots, excuse my language. And the joke was masks have been worn in the wrong area.
On the
Because
wrong
it
place. Yeah,
looked
wrong.
exactly.
Guys, you guys have worn your mask
yeah,
too low.
yeah. I mean, it made such sense. You know, it was not.
I mean, it was the most natural form.
Yeah.
It was like Durex should have done an ad on that, right? The condom sales have gone down.
Yeah.
because
Also, they're
it
only
just-
men, huh? Point
Yeah,
to note.
man. I mean,
But tell me one thing.
Anyway.
Nobody, again, we discussed this yesterday, the elephant in the room, so to speak. No one is calling this out. Here in Maharashtra, now in Delhi, all have gone into a weekend lockdown, etc. Here, everybody's scared in middle class society, okay, and upper middle class society. But you have 28 lakh people bathing on a Monday night, 32 lakh together on a Tuesday, wandering around, very few tests being done, etc. That's just nobody's calling it out. No politician is standing up on a platform and saying, "What the hell's going on? How can this happen?" Forget
yeah, but
religion and all.
everybody's
Just from
scared, right?
yeah, but you know, I
Let's
mean,
face
that's
it.
then why tell us anything?
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
You could.
everybody's scared. And,
Well-
and frankly, I find all religion and all religion gatherings a little bit, I mean, earlier it was the Nizamuddin gathering that started the phase in Delhi.
Supposedly,
Now
yeah.
it's the bloody Kumbh Mela.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Really,
It's
I think we have
just-
to.
and
A little India has to be sliced out now for non-religious people like us, because we have to just
Yeah.
quietly allow all this. But in our heads, we're thinking, "Are you? I mean, really? This beyond intellectual capacity of a human being to accept this beyond a point." Silveri, will you join us in the non-religious India, the NRI community?
Yeah. Will it be secular India? Then yes.
Well, it's
Makes sense.
non-religious, so by that, of course, we'll find other
Should be.
reasons.
Yeah.
Short people will be,
Yeah.
not allowed in the
Yeah.
building.
You're not atheist enough.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
that Eddie Murphy, stand up where he goes to heaven and he's so happy there's no racism. They're all green. Then he goes to the bus stop and the conductor says dark green behind, light green in front.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Oh, God.
next one.
All right. Next one comes in from Sid DA. This is a fun one. He says, Aisha, which is your favorite Chris Martin song?
Oh my God.
How does he know? He's researched her.
I just recently, so I'm obsessed with Chris Martin. I've seen all their shows.
But how does he know?
Literally all over the world. I have no idea.
Oops,
But
you
he probably
got a
realizes
stalker.
I've got good taste. He realizes I've
No,
got good
it's too
taste.
much of a coincidence. He pulls it out of the hat. No way.
Yeah.
There's a few. One of my favorites is Green Eyes, Coldplay, which my husband plays the piano and the guitar incredibly well, and we very often sing it. Of course, Yellow, and the recent one that really kind of touched a chord was Daddy. Yeah,
This is what they call Kejriwal.
yeah.
Okay, but I'm a little worried about the guy in the sense that possibly harmless, but how does he know? He'll only know if he follows you properly. That Chris Martin is a big deal in your life, etc., etc. How does he know that? So
Now, maybe I did a reel recently with using Chris Martin's "Fix You" for a song. That could be possible.
yeah, there's got to be something. My
Sounds
my negative mindset is already out. I don't think good of anybody. Yeah. Shall we next?
All right. Next one comes in from Ritik Rawat. He says, what does Aisha think about cryptocurrencies, especially Dogecoin? Also,
Nice.
could you suggest a few investment/economics books that should
What do
be
you
read?
think this podcast is about?
It's like, yeah.
She's
just
turned her
go back.
back.
Investments.
Investments,
Yeah, I think that. Look, I'm kicking myself that I didn't invest in Bitcoin earlier.
You're not worried the whole bubble will burst, but
No chance. But that's what's so earlier. So I would have actually bought into it a while ago. But then, investment bankers are the most conservative often on investments, having seen the market. In terms of current investment opportunities, I think that you should invest in this book. No,
how much is
I
the
have
book?
no idea. It's 250 rupees.
So it's a nice investment to give to someone you love. It's a more meaningful gift than something
Yes,
silly. Yeah.
I really believe that. Every single person I've given it to has thanked me for not being in the, not having their lives displayed in the book.
Although there are lots of people mentioned in your thanks note or introduction.
Yes. Lots of my friends.
Are they friends? Are they? Because
Yes.
the first four names, Ari, Ivan, Archit, and Ishan, are not
Oh, so Ari and Ivan are my two sons.
okay.
And Archit's my brother and Ishan's my husband.
Ivan is spelled with an I, but
Yes.
Ivan. Okay. And Nanika and Nazneen are the professionals, I presume.
No, Nenika is my best friends of, Nenika and Gauri, the designers.
Oh,
So we grew up together. And Nazneen is somebody who I met through work, who is this one of my closest friends. She literally went through every single piece in the book and is, I don't know how to
you think
describe
other friends
what
will
she's-
feel bad? It's like when you
Yeah, but
choose
I've mentioned a whole billion of them in the acknowledgements to make up for it.
You think that'll be good enough?
Yeah, because this was just acknowledgement. This was just the dedication. So this had to be like people who every single day were basically
Fair enough.
doing
And they
something for
contributed
me
to the thoughts that made this book
exactly
more than your entire life. Yeah. Okay.
Exactly.
You're off the hook, Aisha. You answered well.
Cyrus, nice try, huh?
Yeah.
Getting me into trouble early on a Friday morning.
No need to involve couple civil yet. We're good. Yeah. Where's Suhail, by the way, now that you mentioned him? Is he in Goa? We haven't seen him for a long time.
Sohail has, at least from his Insta, has the best life, I'm going to tell you.
Yeah, he's never suffered. That's fair enough.
Yeah.
But is he living in Goa?
He is in Goa a lot, but he comes back to Delhi also.
Yeah.
But now with the lockdown, I haven't seen him.
No one in their right mind, if there's somebody else, will come back to lockdown city. Come on. Yeah. Young man, what else we got? AMAs?
Yep. So next one comes again from Sid DA. He was the one who asked about Chris Martin. He says, Aisha, which things of Ma Anand Sheila have you found the most inspiring? So yeah, this guy, has he been following
He's
you?
following you. He knows about you. Are you
Yeah.
Rajneesh?
He knows like your taste.
Height or
I
something?
got to tell you, don't know enough about her, but what I find incredible about her is her honesty. It's just the way she's come out and spoken. It's just incredible. We need more people like that in the world.
This is post that whole Oregon.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
But she's out there. Good or bad, take
She
it or
was
leave it. Good
Running
on
an
her.
empire.
Yeah.
But is that someone who influenced you? Again, he's asking a question where
No.
comes from left field. Why Ma Anand Sheila? So this one he got wrong. He just put a name there.
No, I think might have been. I don't know if there's a Penguin Connect that I endorsed.
Because
something.
they released her book. Right. Did they release something of hers? Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
Okay. So this guy is smarter than we think.
Yeah,
he might be
smart.
the CBI.
Maybe it's my husband trying to make this a more.
What's the name again?
My husband might be
No, the
just
name
under a fake profile.
Yeah.
So his name is Ishan.
What's the handle?
What is the handle?
Sylvie, what was the handle?
I don't know.
You just read his AMA out. Sid.
Okay, Sid DA. Sid DA.
Spell it Sid DA. Like district attorney.
Sid, like Siddharth,
Huh?
Sid, and space, then DA. The district attorney, like DA.
Ishan, Siddharth. It's two disguise. I don't get it. I don't think it's him. Yeah. All right. Think of more romantic thoughts. This is some guy who's in love with you. Okay, you got your husband. Just this is allowed. You're not crossing the line here. Come on. Sylvie.
All right.
Next.
Yeah. Next one is Sachin Jangam asks, what's your go-to Bollywood movie? If you have one.
Oh, lots. I'm unfortunately a huge old films fan. So, and when I say old films, I mean Amitabh Bachchan. So I'm obsessed with Namak Halal and Sholay.
Good. My generation. Movies I know. Thank God.
Yeah. So Namak Halal, Sholay.
We know them inside
later
out.
on, Dil Chahta Hai. Later on, Dil Chahta Hai.
Slipping. Going out of the radar.
I even liked, you won't believe it, I even kind of liked Thappad, which I saw. It was quite cool. And then, of course, we went on to Netflix and all that, right? So Hindi films started to suffer.
Oops. Yeah. That's true, actually. Growing up in the 80s and 90s, for example, Hindi films had a much bigger sway. And now it shares space with cricket and everything.
Yeah.
It's not easy. And right now with the COVID, it must really almost like a death blow to cinemas.
Yeah.
I haven't gone. Have you gone to a cinema in the last, 1.5 years almost? Ouch.
Plus, generally, I haven't been going for a while because the last time I remember I went in, when I went in 2009, once I got H1N1 from when I just come back from England from the cinema.
Wow.
Yeah. So I've generally been an advocate of masks and sanitizers for a while, to be honest.
My worry was that they just charge you too much and the movie sucks. And the best moment is the popcorn. And the thing is, I have a young daughter and I have to keep going and buying things and getting up from my
Yeah.
seat and
Yeah,
going
yeah,
back.
yeah.
And,
Yeah.
it was just too much of a chore. Once I was so
Yeah.
drunk, I remember I had to see a movie called Thunder. No, Brave, The Brave. Some animated film at 9:30 in the morning on a Sunday.
Pixar, yeah.
Oh, I don't know how I survived that. I was just like, and then just about some bear turning
No,
into a girl.
I generally find Netflix is a great option for the whole family in
Yeah.
separate rooms.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, made your point. Put it in the book. Put it in the book. Disguise your thoughts well. We're all good. Yeah. You think your friends are a little scared of you now that you've written a book of poetry and it's a little open and out there?
No, I mean, my friends unfortunately are not scared of me at all.
But they appreciate this side of yours, the candor.
Yeah, hugely. I mean, I think also a lot of kind of people who've been through stuff have seen that side of me where they've kind of just seen this person who's, got a, sharp tongue, is kind of, jovial and funny. And so then they see this side and they're like, oh, okay, you get it, So I think that is something that
It's
a
like
lot
a
of people...
karmic theory, Silvery. The yin yang, the balancing it out, whatever you want. Chalo, do we have time for one more?
Sure, we just have a couple of comments which are very complimentary. Lovely Lavina 1 says, the book is a true inspiration, helped me in many different situations. Okay,
Wow.
very cool. Also, then Hitesh Jain asks, which is your next book? Are you going to write, are you going to write another one, Aisha?
Hitesh is my friend.
Hitesh.
Yes, so yes, I'm thinking I am currently actually I want to write a series for either Netflix or Amazon. So that's in my head. I know exactly what it is, and I just have to pen it down between 5 and 6 in the morning when I have time.
All right, very cool. And okay, this one is a slightly loose question. It's comes from Deep Randhawa. He says, what is the biggest inspiration for you, Aisha? Biggest motivation for you, Aisha? Okay, Cyrus, I think got disconnected. He'll just be back. But what is the biggest motivation for you?
The biggest motivation for me is to be able to change the narrative in people's lives a little bit. So for especially in terms of women, for a lot of women to feel stronger, to feel more support, I think that's a huge motivation for me.
All right. GP says, getting the vaccines tomorrow. Wish me luck. Have you gotten the vaccine, Aisha?
No, I'm below 45.
Oh, okay. That's not what I was asking. Maybe you had to go on a shoot or something. I don't know. So Cyrus already got the vaccine. Our boss Amit Doshi also has already gotten the vaccine. Subodh Dohere says her book is trending as the bestseller in motivation category. Don't miss to read it. Okay, very cool. And last, Sid DA has a comment. He says, Aisha, you look strikingly similar to Navya, Amitabh Bachchan's grandkid. Have you ever gotten that?
Oh, wow. Listen, whoever this Sid is, he should definitely, he's saying all the right things.
Okay, this is very interesting. We'll end with this. Tarun Kaushik asks, I think you already talked about it a bit. He says, is it wise to keep in touch with your ex after breaking up? Under what situations should one or should one not do that?
I've got to tell you, I'm not the authority on relationships or exes, but in my own life, I think it depends on the human being. So, if your ex was a lying, cheating, patriarch, then I would say best avoid it, good riddance. But if your ex was a nice person who you just didn't get along with, but they can still be friends, then yeah, of course, wonderful, be friends with them. So it depends also how your present relationship, how your current...
Yeah, correct. Our current... where can people follow you online, Aisha?
So I've got my Instagram handle, which is just Aisha_Chenoy.
All right. Okay, please follow her, guys, and please check out her book, To the Bravest Person I Know. Thank you so much, Aisha, for joining us.
Thank
this was
you.
Such a lovely episode. Thank you, everyone on the live stream. Please like the stream. Please, it helps with the algorithm. Please share the video. Please subscribe to the channel. And please review us on Google and Apple Podcasts because that helps a lot. Thank you so much, guys. Have a lovely
Thanks,
day.
Antush.
See you all soon.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, catch us on any of the podcasting apps, please. We beg you, we need you. Send us your questions on Twitter on Cyrus Says In, or you can email us, even if you're not female, on whatcyrussays@gmail.com.
I hope you enjoyed that show. If you aren't following us on social media, please do. We're IVM Podcasts on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. We'd like to thank our sponsors on the network this week, Siet Tires and thewholetruthfoods.com. So this week on Advertising is Dead, Varun was joined by Mansi Zaveri. She shares her experience of running a community for parents of young kids and teenagers and of hosting a podcast along the same lines. Gauri Devidayal was joined by Divya Thani on This Round Is On Me. Divya works as a global editorial director with Condé Nast Traveler. They discuss the good, the bad, and the ugly of a travel writer's job. On Candid Kanan, Sid is in conversation with Adarsh Gaurav, who recently scored a BAFTA nomination for his role in the Netflix adaptation of The White Tiger. They talk about his role in the show, life pre- and post-stardom, and so much more. On Agla Station Adulthood, Ritash and Ayesha talk about the precious time and opportunities lost to the lockdown and share their post-COVID wish list. When it comes to cricket this season, we have you covered. In English, we have Edges and Sledges, which do their show live on YouTube. They look for announcements over there. And for our Hindi listeners, we have Khel Niti, hosted by Rajiv Mishra and ex-Indian cricketer Sabah Kareem. This show is live streamed on YouTube every day at 9:15. Definitely do check these out and hope to see you again next week.
Hi, I'm Zarina Poonawalla, host of the Empowering Series podcast on the IVM network. I happen to be a peak performance coach and leadership coach by profession, and I'm here to share with you productivity tools, life-altering techniques, and real-life hacks to help you achieve your maximum potential in everything you do, your relationships, professions, careers. So tune in every Monday to unleash your inner power. Be safe, be well, be empowered.